Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Dana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavrikacharya. Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Gorna Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki, Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki, Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Brihat Madanga Ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinda Ki, Gaur Premanandi, all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Garanga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10. Chapter 43, and we'll do verses 29 and 30 today. Vadantyanena vamshoyam yadosu bahu vishruta shriyam yasho mahatvam cha lapsyate Parirakshitaha Vadantyanena Vamshoyam Yadosu Bahu Vishrutaha Shriyam Yasho Mahatvam Cha Lapsyate Parirakshita Vadantyanena Vamshoyam Yadosu Bahu Vishrutaha Shriyam Yasho Mahatvam Cha Lapsyate Parirakshita Vadantyanena Vamshoyam Vishruta Yam Lapshite Pariyapchata Vadantyanena Vamshoyam Yadosu Bahu Vishrutaha Shriyam Yasho Mahatvam Cha Lapsyate Parirakshitaha Vadantyanena Vamshoyam Bahu Vishrutaha Shriyam Yasho Mahatvam Cha Lapsyate Parirakshitaha Vadantyanena Vamshoyam Yadosu Bahu Vishrutaha Yatam Cha Lapsyate Parirakshitaha Vadanti, they say, Anena, by him, Vamshaha, the dynasty, Ayam, this, Yadaho, descending from King Yadu, Subahu, very much, Vishrutaha, famous, Shriyam, riches, Yashaha, glory, Mahatvam, power, Cha, and Lapsyate, it will achieve, Parirakshitaha, protected on all sides. Translation by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. It is said that under his full protection, The Yadu dynasty will become extremely famous and attain wealth, glory, and power. Please repeat. It is said that under his full protection, the Yadu dynasty will become extremely famous and attain wealth, glory, and power. There's no purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, but there is some very short commentary by the previous acharyas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, the learned have said that the Yadu family, being protected by Krishna, will attain great power and wealth. And Jiva Goswami writes, they now speak of the pastimes that he would perform in Mathura. Those who know scriptures say that the Yadu dynasty will gain wealth, fame, and utmost excellence, Mahatmam. Text number 30. Ayam chasya graja shrimam Rama kamala lochanaha Palambo niyato yena Vatsako ye bakadaya. Translation. This lotus-eyed elder brother of his, Lord Balaram, is the proprietor of all transcendental opulences. He has killed Pralamba, Vatsaka, Baka, and other demons. Purport. In fact, 2 of the demons mentioned here were killed by Krishna, not Balaram. The reason for the mistake is that as news of Krishna's exploits spread among ordinary people, the facts became somewhat muddled. The same tendency can be observed in modern newspapers. Well, nowadays it would be the social media, muddled facts, much more than anything. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, after the killing of Vatsasura, there was the killing of Bakasura. Then there was the killing of Dhenukasura, the taming of Kaliya, and the killing of Pralambasura. But in this verse, the killing of Pralamba is mentioned first, out of order. This is because when the news spread from mouth to mouth, the accurate sequence could not be discerned. And Jiva Goswami writes, now they describe the pastimes of Balaram. He is addressed as Shriman, endowed with all beauty, since he is elder. They become greedy because of the beauty of his eyes. He had lotus eyes. Vatsaka here indicates that Balaram killed a demon similar to Vatsasura, since Krishna killed Vatsasura. That killing a cow is a fault, but in this case, there was no fault. This is indicated by the suffix ka in Vatsakaha. Eve pratikritaha. The suffix ka indicates like this to express imitation. The word adaya indicates the relatives of Dhenuka. They recite the demons' names in opposite order of their killing, since their information depended on what they had heard and seen with lack of true knowledge. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyanan Gyanan Shalakaya Chakshu Ummiktangena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tatati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Badaya Krishna Basnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminithanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nira Sesa Shunyavadi Prashachadesh Panchakalpa Charubhyascha Kripa Sindhabhebhya Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. When I read these verses, I said to myself, where is this going? Because this is a descriptive section of the Bhagavatam. It isn't, strictly speaking, philosophical. However, it is the highest philosophy. And it also introduces a notion of misrepresentation here, in a sense that the speakers, these people of Mathura, are speaking not exactly what was in the Bhagavatam. They're speaking out of order. They're speaking what can be considered misinformation, in the sense that they get the wrong demons killed by the wrong person. However, we see that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur makes a point that, or excuse me, that is it? Yeah, no, it's actually Jiva Goswami makes a point that Vatsaka, he is not the same as Vatsasura. So we have different, it's in a sense different opinions coming here, and we see there is some variation from the absolute purity and veracity of the Bhagavatam. So what is to be made of this? Well, it's because the Bhagavatam is about the absolute truth, and how we tell it and how we understand it may vary from person to person, but the Bhagavatam never wavers from its understanding and teaching of the absolute truth. And Prabhupada writes or speaks about this very fact when we talk about the chronology in the Bhagavatam, and how sometimes this chronology is misunderstood by modern personalities as being something not quite in order. And so Prabhupada speaking here in classes from verse chapter 1, text 1, chapter 1, canto 1, text 1, and number 3 verse. I think it's that one. No, excuse me, I'm incorrect here. Okay, it's actually 1, 1, 5, and 6. This is in London. Just like this Purana, this Bhagavat Purana. Bhagavat is also Purana. Purana means old history. Purana. And Itihasa means history. But Vedic civilization was concerned with historical evidences, which are very, very important. At the present moment, the present age, they write history chronologically. One period may be important, one period may not be important, but they write all the history. The Vedic way of writing history was not like that. If you go on writing history, suppose for millions of years of history you write, then where you'll keep the records? It is not possible. So every day, so many things are happening, or every year. So that was not the process. Just like autobiography of life, nobody used to write autobiography. But the life of great kings, sages, saintly persons, they were recorded by the Bhagavatam. And now in Los Angeles. So these things are described in the Mahabharata. Mahabharata means, Maha means great, greater, and Bharata means India. It is the history of Greater India, Mahabharata. They take it as stories, mythology, but that is nonsense. It is history. Mahabharata is the history. So we take it as history. All the Puranas, Mahabharata, they're all history, but not this chronological history. Chronological history, if you keep, then how many pages you have to keep? So many things. Simply selected incidences. They are described, they're select, most important incidences. But that is history. So these very important incidences, they are described in Mahabharata. And one more. To understand Krishna is a very difficult subject matter. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya, we can understand a little about Krishna, and then gradually, of course, the ultimate goal is to enter into the pastimes of Lord Krishna, but not by speculation or by material conception. gradually, step by step. Pradurbhave bhavet krama. There is a chronological or gradual process. So the idea being is that there is chronology in the process of Krishna consciousness, but this chronology does not, strictly speaking, follow the kind of chronology that we find in modern historical understanding. That's why the misunderstanding of the scientists and the philosophers of this age is that because it doesn't seem to make sense, it doesn't fall into in order, therefore it has to be what they call mythology, which is, of course, some sort of cloudy understanding of something higher. But this is not cloudy. This is crystal clear. And this is what's very important. Actually, in another place, I was reading a commentary by Prabhupada. He said that in many cases, the stories are recorded by those persons who are poets and bards of the time. And because of that, they're not interested at all in chronology. They're interested in the actual bhava, or the actual emotions of the story, the actual feelings that are being taught to us, how we should be devotees of the Lord in our very essential being. Not that we have to get everything order perfectly right. So therefore, we have this situation here where the residents of Mathura, they may not get things perfectly right as far as the right demon killed by the right personality or the right time order. That doesn't matter. What matters is that they have this emotional connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This emotional connection in one of 5 different rasas. This idea that we have ultimately a relationship with God. And the Bhagavatam is all about relationship. Our life here in this material world is all about relationship. Because without relationship, one is suffering in this material world. What's the worst punishment in the prison? It's solitary confinement. When one is completely alone, without touch or contact with anybody else. Of course, even that solitary confinement, usually they're allowed to have books or something like that, so there's some kind of touch with other persons through at least some media. And if they're fortunate enough, this person in solitary confinement might have a Bhagavatam or something like that, then they're really fortunate. But the idea is ultimately, without relationship, there can't be happiness. So how far off is the Mayavad conception that somehow or another we'll live an eternal life in some sort of voidistic situation, without relationship, without feeling, without thinking, simply in a vast eternal spark of light, in an ocean of light as a spark of light, whatever they think. This is not enjoyment. This is not happiness. And Prabhupada, he speaks about this when he speaks about the Yadu dynasty, and how because the first verse talks about how the Yadu dynasty will become very, very famous and powerful by the grace of Krishna. And it's really understood that Krishna, he appears pritranaya sadhunam vinasyayasya duskritam. He comes, he does kill demons, but he's there to please the devotees. It's primarily to please the devotees. It's primarily because there's a relationship between Krishna and the devotees. And this relationship is one of loving reciprocation. And therefore, Krishna's reciprocation with the Yadu dynasty is that the Yadu dynasty became all very powerful, very exalted. They had so much wealth and fame. But it's also important, and Prabhupada brings this up in one of his classes. He says that that's one of the reasons why Krishna had the Yadu dynasty vanish after the end of the pastimes, before he left the planet, before he disappeared from our view, is because he didn't want to have the Yadu dynasty stay around and become a very powerful force for disruption. And he gives the example of Muhammad, and how there's 2 sects of Islam. the Sunnis and the Shiites, and it's all about whether or not it's a seminal line or which is that the Shiites say that it has to go through Muhammad's family, so therefore they accepted a certain person, one of his relatives, as the next caliph, which is like the head of the church, and the others say no, it goes to the person who is the most learned. So they split on this, and so Prabhupada says that actually Krishna wanted to solve that problem, so he had the Yadu dynasty remove itself at the end of his pastimes. But we'll read here a little bit about how he relates with the Yadu dynasty and how the Yadu dynasty became very, very powerful because of their relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Prabhupada speaking in Mayapur in 1974, just like the sunrise in the morning, Udilo Arana Purva Bhage. Before the sunrise, the sky becomes reddish, and then the sun comes out. So if somebody says that the eastern side is the birthplace of the sun, is it a fact? No. The sun is always there in the sky, but with your limited eyes, you are seeing that now the sun comes, sunrise. Sun does not rise nor set. Sun is already there. Your imperfect eyes, you see this. There is sunrise. There is sunset. Is it not a fact? Similarly, Krishna is always there. But because we do not know Krishna, therefore we understand that Krishna is taking birth from Devaki, or Krishna has taken birth in the family of the Yadus. Yes, he appears like that. He has taken birth in the Yadu family, Yadu dynasty. Maharaj Yadu was a great devotee. Here, Yadu Priyasa. He appears to take birth in the family of Maharaj Yadu, just like Ramachandra took birth in the family of Maharaj Raghu. Therefore, Ramachandra is called Raghunath Dasarathi, and Krishna is called Vasudeva, because he accepted Vasudeva as his father. Now Prabhupada speaking in Malaysia, and he's speaking about Malayan sandalwood, and he's using this as an example about how Malayan sandalwood, Malaya is glorified by sandalwood. In the same way, Yadu, the Yadava dynasty, Yadu dynasty is glorified by Krishna. We had been in Kuala Lumpur. Actually, he wasn't. He was speaking in Mayapur, but he's speaking about his trip to Malaysia. We had been in Kuala Lumpur. Now, instead of sandalwood, they are growing rubber wood. Yes, formerly Malaysian Chandan, sandalwood was very famous. Still, it is famous. So this Chandan tree can grow anywhere, but it is famous as Malayan Chandan. Similarly, Krishna can appear from anywhere. He is independent, but he appeared as a descendant of the Yadu dynasty. Why? Yado Priyasya Punya Shlokasya Kritaye. Those who are a devotee, they are Punya Shloka, or Krishna is also Punya Shloka, Uttama Shloka. Krishna is another name. As Krishna is known as Uttama Shloka, similarly the devotees are called Punya Shloka. How they become Punya Shloka? Simply by hearing about Krishna. Shrinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shloka Kirtana. Anyone who is always in contact with Krishna, he's Punya Shloka. And Krishna is Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloke Bhagavati Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So the relationship between Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the devotees as the supreme friends of Krishna is highlighted by the understanding that that Krishna glorifies his devotees. Again, here's another place where Prabhupada's speaking, also in Mayapur. Actually, Krishna is unborn. Aja is taking birth. That is already explained. This is bewilderment, vidambanam. It has already been explained. So this vidambanam, speculation or bewilderment, how many types of speculation there are, that is being described by Kunti Devi. Somebody says that Krishna is Yadava. Yadava, Yadavaya, Madhavaya, Keshavaya Namaha. Yadava means born in the Yadu dynasty. And somebody says Krishna is Vasudev, son of Vasudev, Devaki. Krishna. And some of them, they say Nanda Kumaraya, now son of Nanda Maharaj. So Krishna has many big speculations, but actually he is Aja. So the idea is that he's Aja, but he's there to glorify the dynasty of the Yadus. Again, another place here. Just like when he acts as a chariot driver Arjuna, his name is Parthasarthi. When he plays as a child of Mother Yashoda, he is called Yashoda Nandana. When people say that he is born of Nanda Maharaj, he is called Nanda Nandana. When people say that he has come to protect the Vasudev and Devaki, he is called Vasudev or Devaki Nandana. Or when he is in the Yadu dynasty, he is said as Yadava. In this way, Krishna has unlimited pastimes and unlimited names. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anantam, Ananta Rupam. Ananta means unlimited. He has got unlimited because so many devotees, not one devotee, he has to satisfy everyone as Nanda Kumara, as Yashoda Nandana, as Vasudeva, as Yashoda, as Yadava, as Parthasarthi. So in this way, when one becomes bewildered, that how many times he has got, how many names he has got. So one should understand that he has unlimited names or no name, because he has to act unlimitedly, therefore he has got unlimited names. So Krishna is unlimited, and it's unlimited relationships. And so this is the point being brought out here in the Bhagavatam, 10th canto especially. What we're hearing in these chapters recently, 42 and 43, so many different relationships with Krishna. Relationships varying from the sinful washerman to the pious flower seller to Kubja, and then to the different relationships that he has as he's coming into the arena, and different groups of people see him in different ways according to how they are going to interact with him. Actually, Kamsa sees him as death personified because that's how he will interact with Krishna. So Krishna is fulfilling everyone's desire, and we're getting a chance here to peek into this beautiful world that Krishna has, that Krishna is exhibiting here through his relationships with his devotees. Now, if we look at the second verse that I read today, we'll look at the Jiva Goswami commentary. So the description is now that they're talking about Balaram, the different the people of Vrindavan. Mathura. It's also interesting that the Bhagavatam shows in so many places groups of people speaking as one, because they're so overwhelmed by their relationship with Krishna that they're all praising him as one. It's like when we recite the translation to Prabhupada's to the Guru, the prayers of the Guru. Master, please be merciful on us. Give us a shade of your lotus feet. We're doing it all at once. So this is very powerful. The idea that everyone is connected. They're on the same page, literally, praising the Supreme Lord. So they're praising Balaram, and because Balaram is Krishna. He's the first expansion of Krishna. There's no difference between Krishna and Balaram except the mood, which is Balaram is the servitor Godhead and Krishna is the enjoyer. But the point being is that they're drinking in the beauty of Balaram. And Balaram is described in the verse itself. This lotus-eyed elder brother of his, Lord Balaram, is the proprietor of all transcendental opulences that could be said of Krishna. And then it describes how he has killed these different demons, and they get that wrong. But that doesn't matter, because what matters is that they have this relationship that is very strongly emotionally tied to Balaram as the most beautiful exalted elder brother of the Supreme Lord. How does the Lord have an elder brother? Well, this is the magic of Krishna, that Krishna, he's God, but he has relationships with people who seem to be his superior or seem to be his equal, or in the case of the gopis, they control him. Srimati Radharani, how is God controlled? Only by bhakti. But the only bhakti that can really control him is the highest level of bhakti, the highest level being that of Srimati Radharani. But to some extent, everyone, all devotees, they're relating with Krishna, and Krishna is reciprocating. Krishna reciprocates in kind to the devotees. He also reciprocates with the non-devotees. But that reciprocation is through different media. It's through the media of the material energy. It's through the media of Maya, not just Yoga Maya, but the Mahamaya of this material world. So Prabhupada was speaking on different verses, and one of the verses that he was speaking on was in his classes was Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse number 3. And this verse speaks about the great compassion that the Lord has by appearing before the devotees, so that the materialists, they can also become devotees by simply hearing the message of Bhagavatam. So I'll just read the English here. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Shuka, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who, out of his great compassion for those gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge, after having personally assimilated it by experience. One of the reasons why so many people struggle with spirituality to understand anything, and they end up speculating, is that because their so-called leaders have no experience of the absolute truth. I mean, they learn things through a book, or they have some speculative knowledge, they may have some intuition, but they're not hearing from personalities like Srila Prabhupada, who have direct experience of a relationship with Krishna and are so kind that they're coming and giving that experience to us. Shukadeva Goswami, it says here, he had personally assimilated this Bhagavatam by experience. So how powerful that is. If I want to hear about Japan from somebody, it's great to hear it about somebody who's been there, who's experienced it, who knows what it's about, not somebody who just has read a Wikipedia article. And, oh yes, they have so many facts, but they don't really convey the feeling because they've never been there. So we have this very fortunate position of being in association with persons who have been, who are with Krishna right now. And Prabhupada writes in his purport, Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on this cream. That cream is the Vedanta Sutras or the Brahma Sutras. Srila Shukadeva Goswami was a thoroughly realized master on the Vedanta Sutra, and consequently, he also personally realized the commentary Srimad Bhagavatam. And just to show his boundless mercy upon bewildered materialistic men who want to cross completely over nescience, he recited for the first time this confidential knowledge. And Prabhupada writes farther down, Srimad Bhagavatam is the one unrivaled commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Sripad Sankaracharya intentionally did not touch it because he knew that the natural commentary would be difficult for him to surpass. And he wrote his own, Charyaraka Bhashya. And farther down, Prabhupada writes, but those who are really anxious to get out of this material existence may take shelter of this Bhagavatam because it is uttered by the liberated Srila Shukadeva Goswami. It is the transcendental torchlight by which one can see perfectly the transcendental absolute truth realized as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So we're very fortunate to be able to have this knowledge handed down to us by personalities like Srila Prabhupada, who are coming as really the emissaries of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has given us the key to actually to understand everything in the Bhagavatam, because he's given us the key to this, um, the, um, the yagna for this age, which is the Sankirtan yagna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I was, unfortunately, especially the day before yesterday and yesterday, I was so darn jet lagged. I couldn't really make it out to the Rath Yatra parade. But what I could see was that this is Lord Chaitanya's mercy, because here are people coming out to a parade expecting to see, marching bands and fire trucks and whatever else, and see their kid dancing or something. And they're so fortunate that all of a sudden, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, comes down this, and they see Jagannath, just like when we were in Hawaii. I was taking my in-laws to see the deities, and they had never been to the temple before. They knew all about the devotees, but and when they saw when my son-in-law's mother saw Jagannath, she says, "Wow, that's amazing," and she was just taken by them. And so I explained a little bit about them, and she said, "Oh, they're just there's something about them that you just are attracted to," and so we can see that we have to bring this to the people, and this Bhagavatam will bring real knowledge to people. But we shouldn't become perplexed if we see some variations or some inconsistencies, because the Bhagavatam is perfect in all ways, and even in its so-called imperfections, those imperfections become ornaments or things that become very, very tasteful and wonderful for us to hear. So how fortunate we are to be devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and how fortunate we are to have Prabhupada to give us this wonderful Bhagavatam and the wonderful process of becoming Krishna conscious. So it should be a minute or two here if there's any questions or comments. I usually run too long. Yes, Prabhuji.
Video of Prabhupada in Australia, and some reporter must have asked him, "Are you a spiritual leader or something like that?" And Prabhupada said, "Yes, I'm here as," I can't remember the exact words he used, but "I'm here as a representative of God, but you are not understanding that." And he said it twice, to get the message across. Mm-hmm. It's really beautiful when you see Prabhupada's face when he says it. His eyes are so big. And yes, I'm here as a representative of God, but you haven't realized it yet.
And that's very interesting. He says you haven't realized it yet, because that person will realize it because of Prabhupada saying it to him, even if it's in some other life, because he got the glance of Prabhupada, or it could be she, I guess. But the point being is that you haven't realized it yet. So we know you will realize, because I am telling you that. So that's the power of the pure devotee. Jai.
Govinam Adi Purusham Tamaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Enam Kanvanda Maravindanalaya Tartam Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddhasundaram Tandar Hakom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Andani Yasna Sakale Kriya Priti Manti Vasyanti Bhakti Kayanti Jira Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham
Namahom Vishnu Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurvade Pacha Nivitsesha Shunyavati Ashacharade Charade Jaya Shri Krishna Jai Anna Prabhu Nityananda Jia Twaita Katana Siva Sati Gaurata Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanujana Yatita Tada Siva Sadi Gaurata Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Radha Shiva Sade Gauranga Jai Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rate, rate. Jai Om.
Nanuraga Nada pisu nichana Tarora pisahijuna Mananina manadina Kirtanya sadahari Nadanam najanam nasundarim Kavitam vajagadisha kamaye Mama jamani jamani jvari Bhavata bhakti haitu gitvai Ainanda tanuja kinkaram Patitamam vishame babambudo Kripaya tava pada pankaja Shtita duli sadrisham vichintaya Nayanara rudaya Vadanangarigara rudaya gira Pulakai nichitam vapukada Tavanamagrahan bhavishyati Tam jagar sarvam Govinda virahena me Ahlishya vavataratam pinashtumam Adarshana mahmahatam garoduva Jatatato vavidato lampato Ma prananasta shevana paraha Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental. It's no chant of a holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness, we enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, think oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer our respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Oh, my Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any numbers of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. Ó Sana Maharaja Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other, I have invested from this and placed me one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will the voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling a separation, I may consider a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like tears of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain, so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me, he is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Jai Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai.